The rain came down in wild, lashing sheets as she ran, her skirts heavy with water, boots sloshing in the mud, breath catching in her chest. Thunder cracked above like the anger of God himself, but she didn't stop. She couldn't stop. Behind her, boots pounded on the wet ground. The white man had been following her since she stepped off the stagecoach in the little Montana town of Grizzly Hollow. She'd seen the leer in his eyes even then. She'd felt his hunger. He was tall, pale, with a patchy beard and a rifle slung on his back. No one else had paid her any mind, a black woman alone in the West. No one had lifted a finger when she fled the inn screaming. Now she was alone, lost, cold, terrified. She ducked into the woods, the trees bare and skeletal in the lightning flashes. Then, suddenly, he was on her. Rough hands grabbed her by the waist and slammed her into the wet ground. Her scream was swallowed by the storm. "You think you can strut around here like you belong?" he snarled, breath reeking of whiskey. His hand struck her face. Her ears rang. Then, crack. Not thunder. A body flew off her. She blinked through the rain to see a dark figure, tall and strong, silhouetted against the gray sky. The stranger moved with fluid, deadly precision. One punch, then another. The white man crumpled into the mud like a sack of flour. She gasped. Her body trembled. She tried to speak, to thank him, to scream, but everything went black. She awoke to warmth. A fire crackled beside her. The scent of wood smoke filled her nose, mingled with the smell of warm stew and fresh hay. Soft woolen blankets cocooned her. She blinked at the flickering light on log walls. A ranch cabin. Not town. Not danger. "About time you woke up," a deep voice said. Her head snapped toward the doorway. A man stood there, broad-shouldered, skin like polished obsidian, eyes sharp but kind. He wore a flannel shirt open at the throat, sleeves rolled up to reveal muscled forearms. "You saved me," she whispered, sitting up slowly. "Name's Ezekiel," he said, stepping forward. "Zeke for short. You're at my ranch. My brothers and I brought you here." "Brothers?" she repeated, voice hoarse. The door creaked open again. Two other men entered, one with a lighter brown complexion and a calm demeanor, the other taller, darker, with a scar on his brow. All three, striking, strong, dangerous, but not cruel. "I'm Levi," said the scarred one, giving her a nod. "And that's Tobias." Tobias, the calm one, bowed slightly. "We found you near dead. You're safe now, miss." She pulled the blanket tighter. "My name's Sadie." Sadie, 25, an orphan since 10. Her mother died of the fever, her father hanged for a crime he didn't commit. She'd worked kitchens, scrubbed floors, faced every insult the South could spit her way. By 18 she'd run, dreaming of the North, of peace, of dignity. But the North was cold in more ways than weather. When a battered flyer found her hands, Montana homesteads, land and husbands await, she made a choice. She packed what little she had, said goodbye to every ghost, and boarded a coach west. She came hoping to find land, maybe love. Instead, she found terror, and these three men. On the second day in the cabin, Sadie overheard the ranch hand whispering in the barn to a delivery boy. "You know who that is, right? That woman staying with the Blackthorn brothers." The name chilled her. She remembered it now. The Blackthorn brothers, feared from Bitterroot to Bozeman. Whispers said they were ex-soldiers turned outlaws, that they'd burned a white man's ranch to the ground for calling them dogs, that they'd run a gang of horse thieves out of the canyon and left the bodies dangling in trees. "Folk call them the Three Shadows," the ranch hand had said, "because death follows behind them." Sadie had sat on the edge of her bed that night, heart pounding. Who had saved her? Who had she agreed to stay with? It was Ezekiel who answered her questions, days later when she asked straight out, "That name, Three Shadows, is it true?" He sat by the fire, silent a moment. "We earned it. We don't go looking for trouble, but we end it when it finds us. Folks fear what they don't control," Levi added from across the room. "Ain't a soul in this valley ever lifted a hand to help a black man, lest they feared him. We made 'em fear us." Tobias simply said, You'll never have to run again. You ain't got anywhere to go, do you? Sadie hesitated. No. We figured as much, Tobias said gently. Most folk in this world turn their back on women like you. Especially black women, Levi added, and especially alone. She stiffened. I don't need no pity. Ezekiel smiled slightly. Good. We don't offer pity. Then came the strange part. Ezekiel leaned forward, elbows on his knees. We have land. We work hard. We survive. But it's lonely. You're brave. You survived worse. We can offer you a home and a life. Sadie blinked. What are you saying? Tobias looked her dead in the eye. We want to marry you. All three of us. The fire popped. What? She whispered, stunned. We're brothers by blood, bonded by more than war and hardship, Levi said. We share everything. The ranch, the risks, the love. Sadie stood, backing away a step. You want me to marry all three of you? Ezekiel nodded slowly. We won't force you, but you'd be cared for, respected and loved deeply. She stared at them. The idea was mad, sinful, some might say. But wasn't it also mad to ride alone into Montana with no money, no family, and the past clawing at her heels? I need time, she said finally. You have it, Tobias replied. You can stay as long as you want, no pressure. That night, she lay in bed with too many thoughts for sleep, but she stayed. In the weeks that followed, they showed her who they were. It was Tobias who taught her how to ride, gentle hands on her hips, a quiet voice in her ear. You're doing fine, Sadie, he'd murmur as she clutched the reins. You don't need to be afraid. And when she fell hard into the dirt, he was there before she could cry, brushing her off, kissing the scratch on her forehead. That day he carried her into the house and read to her by lamplight as her ankle swelled. A quiet storm, that man. Always watching, always ready. I never had anyone care if I fell before, she told him. Well, he said, his voice low and earnest. You do now. That was when her heart first softened for Tobias. Levi was fire, wild and rough but tender in his way. He cussed at the animals and sang old freedom songs while he mended fences. But one afternoon she found him behind the barn, teaching a wounded bird to fly again. You got a soft spot, Levi? She asked, smiling. He chuckled. Don't tell nobody. Ruin my reputation. Later, when she admitted she couldn't read very well, it was Levi who made it a mission. Every night, he'd sit with her by the fire, holding the tattered Bible she'd carried west, reading slowly, tracing her finger under each word. You ain't stupid, he told her firmly. Nobody ever taught you right, that's all. He made her laugh until her sides ached, taught her to shoot, showed her how to gut a deer without flinching. And when she cried, remembering her father's body swinging in the dark, Levi held her tight, fierce, as if nothing could touch her again. But it was Ezekiel who truly unraveled her. He didn't smile often, but when he did, it changed the room. He watched her like he was memorizing her every move. She'd wake to find firewood chopped, water drawn, her boots by the fire, warm and waiting. One stormy night, lightning struck a tree behind the barn. The horses screamed. Sadie panicked. Ezekiel burst through the door, soaked and breathless. He'd run from the fields the moment he saw the sky light up. He took her face in his hands. You all right? He demanded. I think so, she whispered. You're shaking. I thought I left the storms behind, she admitted. He pressed his forehead to hers. I know storms. I'll walk you through everyone. Spring came. Sadie stood beneath the big cottonwood tree, the wind lifting her curls, and looked at the three men before her. I came here to survive, she said, but you gave me more. You gave me back. They made vows beneath the open sky, with no preacher but the land. She wore a blue dress Levi stitched by hand. Tobias braided flowers into her hair, and Ezekiel carved a wooden ring that fit like fate. But peace was never simple. 3 nights after their union, the past came clawing. Carl Jasper returned with 5 men, drunk and armed. You think we'll let no black harlot soil this land with your kind of filth? Carl spat. Sadie stood on the porch in her blue dress. no longer the woman who had run in the rain. Ezekiel stood beside her. Tobias cocked his rifle. Levi cracked his knuckles. "She's our wife," Ezekiel said coldly. "You want her, you come through all of us." Gunfire lit the night. When Carl reached the steps, it was Sadie who stepped forward and fired the final shot. Blood washed away by the spring rains. The earth turned soft again. Flowers bloomed around the ranch. Sadie worked beside her husband's, belly round with new life, hands calloused with purpose. She had traveled west to escape pain. She found love, danger, family, and herself. Not all fairy tales wore crowns. Some rode in on horseback, through the storm, covered in mud and fire. And Sadie, she was no damsel. She was the storm, and she was finally home.